Alright, hello everyone. This is another video I wanted to do on the Delphi murders. Um, just a case that I've been following for a long time, so um, kind of late to the party, of course, but um, I've been following it and lurking around on everybody's channels and what they all have to say, for a number of years. So just decided to do videos on it myself, as well. Just share my thoughts and just different things like that. Um, it's it's a horrific case, and I really feel for the families and everything in this. But I wanted to react to a video called "Delphi Bridge Guy May Have Nothing to Do with the Crime." It's from a channel called Hidden Killers with Tony Bruschi, and there's also a guest named Jennifer Coffindaffer. I'm not sure if I'm butchering that name or not. I guess she's a retired FBI agent. Well, anyway, they're talking about um, that Bridge Guy may not even have anything to do with the crime itself, and I understand where they're coming from. I understand where they're coming from with that. Surely, um, I definitely disagree, but I do understand where they're coming from for sure. Um, they're saying, well, maybe he's just on the video and um, helping and saying like that they have to go down the hill to you know to get wherever else they want to go, um, and that maybe he wasn't even involved in the crime. I get that, and then the crime would have happened somewhere down the hill after they left the bridge area. Like technically, yeah, that's possible. Sure. I just feel like that's highly unlikely. Because then wouldn't the bridge guy dude come forward and you know give his side of the story, and if that the bridge guy is Richard Allen, and why wouldn't he say that then instead of like confessing that, like, what, over 100 times or something, that he did the crime, and Richard Allen's bullet was found at the scene, and he saw the neighbor's white van, which nobody else would know but him, and Richard Allen was dressed the same way that day. He was on the bridge that day. He has the same blue jacket, same kind of hat. According to a lot of video analysis, he's like the same height. He's I'm just saying, this is from my point of view here, but I'm trying to be objective, and I want to hear other people out. I mean, that's why I want to do these videos too. I want to hear other viewpoints, see if there's anything there that could sway my opinion. I'd love to know what everybody else out there thinks that's watching this, that cares to watch this, um, and that has like the same questions and doubts that I have. Like, I'm not 100% on this. It's just I strongly believe that killer, the bridge guy, is the killer and is Richard Allen as well. Um, I'm like maybe 90%. I'll say like maybe 90% sure personally. Just a personal, just my personal conclusions and viewpoint here, based on everything. But um, I'm not 100% on it. Otherwise, I wouldn't be making these videos. If I was 100% on it, I wouldn't be making these videos. That's for sure. Um, so, another thing that was discussed was in the latest release video, you don't hear the gun cocking thing. So this I don't understand, because in the original released audio from years ago, couldn't you hear like a gun cocking thing? Or where's the he's got a gun part that you could that you could hear one of the girls screaming on the video? Like, I could hear it. Like, it sounded like he's got a gun. Like, I thought at one point in the audio, in the old audio, that was released to the public years ago, you could hear that. Like, it was drowned out some, but you could still hear one of the girls yelling that. I'd have to go back and listen to the audio again to see if you could actually like hear a gun cocking, but like, I thought I clearly heard in the original audio one of the girls shouting, like, it's distorted a little bit, but it's like, it sounds like, he's got a gun, like that, like something like that. And you don't hear that in the latest video. Why is that? Like, is that, I don't understand that part. Like, are we, is that the full thing, or is there more to it? That, like, what is going on here? So that part I don't understand. But I'm sure you all understand what I'm talking about. Maybe I'm missing something now. Maybe I'm missing something here. That could possibly be too. Alright, so then the video talks about Richard Allen's, like, at first he, staunchly denied having anything to do with it, and, like, he didn't sound guilty at all, this and that, and then, like, later, as he's had been imprisoned for a while and in poor condition, he was definitely treated in poor condition. Yes. That's one of the damning things about this case as well. Like, it definitely didn't help. It didn't help anything. But I think it really hurt the case for sure. But I still think he's guilty regardless. But of course, then when he was like deteriorating in prison, and that's when he's started, I guess, confessing, right, and acting, had all this erratic behavior. And I can see why a lot of people think that those aren't like true confessions, and because he's like losing his mind and deteriorating so much. I don't know like how I would be in that position. I don't know. I can't say how I would act in that position. If I was innocent of a crime horrific like that, and people were coercing me and accusing me left and right every single day, and I was in very poor conditions and deteriorating like that. Like, I don't think that I would start falsely confessing. Like, I don't think that I would lose my mind to that level and confess and do all that stuff. But I don't think that I would do that personally. But I think, I don't think everyone would be like that. I think other people would. Um, that doesn't mean that this is that's actually what happened. But I mean, obviously, it's a possibility. Um, we can't be like so close-minded, like us who believe that he did it can't be so close-minded that we um, can't see this as a possibility. But it is possible that a lot of the evidence is not as big as evidence as we thought. Like, he could have like read about the evidence and then talked about it, like the white van and the bullet thing. I don't know. Like, that one is it more of a gray area, the bullet evidence? Because he had, I'm not sure. It's a bullet that like goes with one of his guns, right? Like, it matches one of his guns, but um, other people could have like the same gun and bullets too, right? So that's my understanding. So it's evidence, but it's like weak evidence. The sighting of the white van, the neighbor's van, though, that is strong evidence unless he heard it before and said it after he just heard about that. That's pretty damning evidence, though, against Richard Allen. That's a big one for me. The other damning evidence is him already placing himself at the bridge that day. He's got like the similar clothing and all of that. That's that we know. Uh, I also find it really disturbing that his own daughter looks a lot like Libby, like a lot like Libby. I always found that really disturbing. Man, ah, it's just awful. Um, but I mean, another thing I'll say about the theory with it that the bridge guy just could have just directed them down the hill and he's not like being threatening is, well, maybe he was doing that at first and then after they were going down the hill, because the phone cut off. We don't know what happened after the cell phone video cut off. So after that, then maybe he started getting threatening to them and led them, to where he led them and committed that horrific crime. I mean, that's what I think. I mean, that is what I think happened. But sure, the video does not show enough. I mean, but it's still pretty damning towards him. And I think that's him there on that bridge going. He's like catching up, trying to catch up pretty fast to the girls. That's another thing. Why I think Bridge Guy is the guy, the culprit. He's trying to catch up. It looks like he's trying to catch up pretty fast to them. Like, that's very disturbing too. He's like right there on Abby's, right behind her. So that's what it looked like. It looks like, Um, like opinion is that when he was breaking down, then he was starting to tell the truth of what happened, just because he was backed into a corner. And I mean, you're losing your mind's deteriorating anyway. Like, what else are you gonna do? That type of thing. Like, it doesn't mean that he's losing his mind and being delusional. He's just like losing his mind and being just backed into a corner and like, oh well, they got me. What am I gonna do now? People that think he's innocent, you got to think about that part too. Like, that scenario. Like, that could be it too. So that's just my thoughts on that. Another thing that was talked about was how the families think that they did get the right guy, but then then it was talked about but if he's not the right guy, then the other guy is still out there. That's why it still needs to be an open case. Like, I feel like it's not over with. Like, what if there's more than one person, or what if it's a different person? Just in case. I mean, you know. So that was talked about in the video as well. Yeah, the case needs to stay open, I think. Just for other potential nefarious perpetrators, or like anybody else that could have possibly been involved. Because they don't know that. I mean, I don't think any of us know that. I don't think that he said anything about, like, Richard Allen himself. I don't think said anything about anybody else. So that's, you got to keep that in mind too during those confessions. Like, I don't think he mentioned anybody else but him committing the crime. But we have to keep in mind the Keegan Kline stuff too. All that bizarre Keegan Kline stuff. That always bothered me. It just seems like he has something more to do with it, other than the online stuff. It really does. I feel like there's more to it, to that. I really do. It's just super difficult to believe that he doesn't have more to do with it, or anybody else that was using that Anthony Shots account. Did he share that account with others, or was it just him using it? That So do we know? I don't know. But that Keegan Kline guy, he's a monster. He's a monster too. Just like whoever the Delphi killer or killers are, whether it's Richard Allen himself, or somebody else, or multiple people, or that we know for a fact that Keegan Kline guy is an absolute horrific monster. And I am glad he's behind bars. I don't know I forget how much time behind bars he got, but he needs to stay behind bars for sure, right? Jesus. So, let me know, do you think that, for those that think Richard Allen is the culprit like me, do you think he was the only one directly involved, or do you think that Keegan Kline also had something more to do with this other than the online part? Is there anything there? Guess we don't know for sure, but it just feels it's just very strange and eerie, that whole Keegan Kline thing. It really, really is. I would be surprised if there's nothing more to it, but maybe there isn't. And wasn't he like the last person to even be on contact online with the girls? Like, that is crazy to me. That, right? I mean, it just seems like there's a stronger connection there with the crime, with him, or who's ever behind the account talking to them that day. That is crazy to think that he didn't have anything else to do with it, even though, man, I don't know. But yeah, those are my thoughts on those are some more thoughts I have about all of this. Not sure what else to add right now. But yeah, what do you think about the bridge guy? Do you think? I mean, yeah, I want to know what other people think. I got my own thoughts, but I want to be open to what everybody else has found out, what everybody else is thinking, feeling. Like, pretty interested in all of that. So, do you think it's possible that the bridge guy had nothing to do with the crime? Do you think the bridge guy is Richard Allen and did the crime? Is the bridge guy the culprit but not Richard Allen? Is Keegan Kline more involved than we know? I feel like all of those things are still not 100% known, regardless of what we all think. So those are my final thoughts here. Feel free to add anything that you want to if you're still with me here in the comments below. And I'll be back later with some more videos.